If you remember last week, we were looking at Jesus explaining to people about the Sabbath day, the special holy day of rest. His explanation didn't make everybody very happy. In fact, it made some people very mad. And he ended that story climbing a mountain to spend the whole night resting, recuperating, and praying to his Father in heaven. That's where we pick it up today in our Sunday story. Enjoy!
In the morning, he got his mates back together and chose 12 of them to be his apostles. Basically, loads of people followed Jesus around and listened to what he said, but Jesus chose these guys to really learn from him. He wanted to teach them about God, about life, about heaven, about all sorts of things really, but he also wanted to prepare them to tell others about him in the future. Did you know the word apostle means someone who is sent out? That's exactly what Jesus wanted to prepare these 12 guys to do. He wanted to send them out on a mission for him. Anyway, this is who he chose. Simon, except Jesus renamed him Peter. Andrew, he was Peter's brother. James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, and another James. Then there was Simon, not the Peter Simon, another one. And finally, Judas, whose dad was called James. And then another Judas. So, after Jesus had chosen his 12 apostles, they all trekked back down the mountain to be greeted by enormous crowds of people. There were hundreds and hundreds of them. People had come from all over the place to listen to Jesus and get healed. Everyone was pushing and shoving to get close to Jesus. This was pretty standard now because they knew he had real healing power. Jesus looked around at the huge crowds and decided that now would be a good opportunity for a bit of a speech. He cleared his voice and began.
God really wants to bless you, especially if you're poor. He says everything that is his is yours, and he really wants to bless you if you're hungry too. He'll give you all the food you need. If you're sad, God wants to bless you too. He's got 1,000 smiles he's waiting to pour out on your head. If other people hate you and avoid you, God wants to give you good things. If people are rude to you and call you names just because you follow me, God wants to bless you too. When tough things happen to you, don't be sad. God wants to bless you with really good things, even if you might have to wait a while until you get to heaven to get them all. If you're rich though, and you're greedy, and life is easy for you, then you'd better watch out. If you get what you want, no matter who gets hurt along the way, then you should know that it won't last. God will make sure of it. Do you have enemies? Do you hate them? Well, don't hate them, love them. If people say horrible things to you, ask God to bless them. If people are harsh with you, then pray for them. If someone wants to take your coat, then let them have your shirt too. If someone asks, always give and don't ask back. In fact, if you think about it, it's simple. How would you like to be treated? Well, be like that with everyone. It's easy to be nice to people who are nice to you. Why would God think that that's an achievement? It's easy to give things to people if you think they're going to give them back. That's not much of a challenge, is it? No, if you really love God, then be different. Really love your enemies, even the people you don't like. And let's face it, you're not perfect either, and God still loves you. It's not up to you to decide if someone is good or bad, unless you want the same thing to happen to you, of course. Go easy on people, and God will go easy on you. Forgive others, and when they do something wrong, and God will forgive you. Selfishness isn't God's way. He's a giver. When you give anything at all for him, he's right back at you with more than you could ever imagine. God's watching, you know. He can see what you're like with other people, and that's how he'll be with you.
Jesus had been talking for quite a while now, but everyone was really listening. He was saying some pretty awesome things, but they sounded super hard to actually do. I mean, seriously, if someone takes your coat, wouldn't you want to keep your shirt? He really wanted people who followed him to be different. Then he said, if you can't see, you can't really help someone else who can't see to find their way around, can you? You'd end up falling down a hole. If you're still a beginner, you can't be better than an expert, can you? It takes time to become an expert yourself. It's really easy to tell other people what's wrong with them, but it's much harder to notice what's wrong with you. First, you should think about how you need to change for the better before you tell other people how they need to be different. People are a bit like trees. If they're good on the inside, then their fruit is good too. But if they're bad on the inside, their fruit will always be bad. With trees, you can tell if they're good or not by the way their fruit tastes. People are just the same. You can always tell by what someone says and does what they really like on the inside. I don't understand why you all keep saying that you follow me, but then you don't do what I say. If you do what I say, it's like building your house on really good foundations. No matter what comes, your house will be safe and strong. But if you listen to me and then don't do what I say, it's like building a house without any foundations. As soon as there are floods, as soon as something difficult comes your way, it all comes tumbling down.
I don't know about you, but I want a safe house. I want to build my life on good foundations. I want to live like Jesus says. It's going to be a challenge, but I know it'll be worth it in the end.